Hello, and welcome to the live stream. Tales of Agartha, Episode 2, State of the Game. It's been a few weeks since I've posted anything or gone live, and it's just been very busy. Lots of refactoring, as I've mentioned in previous videos. Lots of reworking, and actually not even as much refactoring as very little time in general to work on this. I think there was like 8 days in a row where I didn't even touch the game or do one single thing. Just life and work and raising 5 kids. Free time is not as readily available as I would like, but every once in a while I carve out time to dedicate to this project to keep it moving forward. And so today we've got some big updates, and I figured there's so many features to go through. I figured I would just go live, do a live demo. Excuse me, I'm getting excited, and just dive into it. So I mean, this is my test area. I used to be in this beach desert, and honestly I was just tired of staring at the same scene day after day after day, and so finally put a new scene together. I'm reusing a lot of assets from some asset packs and building stuff, and for my purposes right now, just to kind of iterate, like, art is important. Having a big, beautiful world to explore is obviously a huge part of an MMO, but at this stage, it's really just about development and having a playground to implement all the systems that I want to put in the game. I don't know what it is about live stream. I can talk all day, but then when I'm like on the spot and now I'm doing the live thing, my throat starts getting scratchy. It's weird. Not used to streaming. Anyway, we've got a big agenda to get to today. Where's my mouse? Let's see what's on the docket. Got some handy notes we're going to be going through. But yeah, the biggest thing is the refactor is done. The inventory system, the equipment system, the stat system, so many systems are all refactored to a network authoritative state and supporting multiplayer, network spawn projectiles and spells, network handled stats and health bars. So everybody sees the same health bars on our actors or on our characters. You know, if I select this guy, but then I also grab my secondary instance and he selects that guy, we're both going to see the same thing. If a player on the other screen goes and decides to shoot a fireball, I see it on my screen. Hey, what are you doing, buddy? Let's see here. Frame rate's not great. It's actually really good on my computer. I don't know how well it's coming across on the stream. Probably some things to handle, but he's got some spells. He's casting some stuff. Let's give him some more things. Let's see if he can get his fireball. Come back into view. He can pop his void shield. He can do some damage. Let's see. Is he tab targeting? Oh, he's out of mana. Oh, the best way to get mana is level up, and look at that. This guy just leveled up. So having like all these basic things server authoritative, server synced, like that's where we're trying to get with this game. And so let's just dive into some of the new features straight from the top. Let's start with inventory. This was a system that I really needed to refactor, and when I first built the game, I really designed it as like a single player game, and that was good for early development, but it quickly breaks when you start bringing in networking and server hosting and trying to sync your movements to other players. All of my single player code was bad, and I had to refactor the entire system. It worked really good, and it was a hard like pill to swallow that like I built all this robust logic and I kind of had to scrap it. I mean, in a way, I knew the framework of what I wanted, so I didn't have to rethink of how I wanted things designed. I just had to re-engineer it to be through a network as opposed to a local. And that involved like destroying my hierarchy and my scene and reordering things, destroying scripts. I think like 20 scripts just thrown away into my old folder. But it was actually worth it. I like completely broke my game, but it was worth it because now it's in a much better state to expand and to continue growing. So let's talk about inventory. Obviously, you have all these weapons and things on the ground. As I run around, labels pop up. Right now, these little test herbs, I don't know if I actually want them to have the labels. It's just kind of a test functionality, but they do have like a clip distance, so as I get closer or further, they pop on and off. I totally re-engineered my tooltip system. So there's two actual ways, and if anybody's watching or anybody does end up watching, I'd love feedback on what you prefer as gamers for, and I may end up adding this as a user toggleable option. So typically when I hover on a tooltip, it shows up in the bottom right corner in a fixed location. Every tooltip for all my gear shows up there at all times, right? So no matter what it is, it shows up here as like an epic. It's got a bunch of stats. I have kind of reworked my tooltip. Let's see if I can keep my mouse still. To have, all these new stat parameters: dexterity, evasion. It's got damage. Stay still. It has speed and DPS and crit percentage. It's even got some like flavor text like "dagger gonna get you." It's a weird thing having to force yourself to talk. You talk all day. And like I said, I get on this mic and it's all scratchy, kind of embarrassing. Anyway, yeah, so that's the new tooltip. You see this one loaded with stats. We have sell price now, silver and gold. It's all dynamic, and the durability value. 1 minute. Oh my gosh. Not off to a good start. It's only been a few minutes. I say a few minutes. It's been 20 minutes. Okay. Well, I guess a lot of that was the countdown. Anyway, we're live. We're doing this off the cuff. Things happen. I gotta stay on track because I'm so scatterbrained. I have so many things I want to share, and I'm like all over the place trying to relay it. But yeah, editing a video, I don't have time to edit videos, so going live and just smashing it all out there is what I'm trying to do with these devlogs. Anyway, enough rambling, John. Let's get back to it. So we have the inventory system that allows us to just simply loot an item. I loot it, it goes into my bag. I loot another one, it goes into my bag. Come over here, loot, 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 loot. As long as you are within distance. So you can see I have my normal cursor. It's like blue dagger. And if I hover, the hand becomes gray. That means you're out of range. But if I hover and I'm close, now it becomes orange. That means I can click it. So a small little indicator with the cursor. I rewrote my cursor logic to handle that better. I have these nice highlights that pop up as you hover the item. It's all color coded too. So if it's a uncommon green, when you hover over it, it's green. If it is a epic, it hovers over and the outline's purple, the text is purple, the tooltip is purple. Again, like this one, this is a common item, so it's all white, the outline's white, the tooltip's white, the label is white, and so all of that is dynamically driven through my tooltip system, which is pretty robust, pretty awesome. So we can loot items. They go into your bag, and if it is a consumable item like these health potions, let's grab a couple of these. They actually go straight into your consumable bag. If they are stackable, as you collect potions, they will stack. You can move these around. pretty straightforward. If you want to split a stack, I have really nice logic actually. Having only 3 may not demonstrate it, but I'll demonstrate it with the herbs. And as I demonstrate it with the herbs, I will also level up. So part of the leveling is I actually have a nameplate now. We have character names that are driven from our character creation screen. Your player is in blue, so whoever you are will have a blue name, and everybody else in the world will have these green names. This name is also shown on your character window, and then there's your level 1. Now, because level 1 only requires 100 experience, I actually made these herbs like super herbs. And what I mean by that is when I click them, just to collect them, I added an experience parameter, just really as a test object to help me level characters quickly in a test bed. So as I click, level 2, you get a nice pop-up, you get a particle effect, this updates, and then also all of your stats update by 1. And another thing we'll get to, let's see if I can, is these primary stats. So by default, when you level up, you get 100, or you get 25 health and 25 mana. All of these numbers are TBD, but they're test numbers. I've written a nice formula tool that allows me to easily modify my stat system. So as you level up, you can select a primary stat. And so by default, when you level up, you get +1 to everything. To demonstrate, let's actually just strip off all your gear. So I'm not getting any modifiers, I'm not getting any bonus stats. And let me move, get out of the way, guy. Let me move myself here a little bit. Just so you can see for a moment. There we go. Alright, so obviously this moonlight is very glowy. We got Santa Claus over here. He has no armor, so we just have base stats. And you can see that the dexterity has 3 because that was previously selected. Now when you level up, by default you get +1 to all your base stats. And base stats affect your health and your DPS and all of that. Power is a direct modifier for melee DPS. Wisdom modifies spell DPS. Resolve is your health regeneration. Insight is your mana regeneration. And then dexterity and evasion are a little bit independent, but dexterity is crit chance and things like that. And then evasion is like dodge and parry. And then you have armor, which is damage reduction. And then stamina, which is not actually stamina, but it's your run. So your normal speed is like this, but if you hold shift, you can actually sprint your character. And that's linked to this stamina bar here. So every point of stamina, I think right now I have it set really high because I want to be able to sprint around my scenes. But in the actual game, it'll be a much lower amount, and every point of stamina will give like 1 second of sprint. And so you'll want to collect stamina as a stat throughout the game. And this will really play into different specs. The assassin class may want lots of speed. Even the mages could benefit from speed for escape. But, you know, there's always a trade-off. You're getting stamina at the expense of mana or crit or something else. So, stamina is important, but yeah, you use it, it drains, and then it'll slowly regenerate when you're not using it. And so that's kind of a built-in stat system. So anyway, back to the leveling, because I am all over the place. As you level, you get +1 to every stat, so let's go do that. But the primary stat that you have selected, and you can change this just on the fly every single time, will give you an extra +1 to that stat. So you can see Resolve, I have 2, but if I level up, Resolve actually got 2 points. It went from 2 to 4 because that was my primary stat. And so this is a small system that just allows like a little bit of fine-tuned control, that if you want to add more power, you know, after 60 levels or whatever the number cap, I think I'm kind of leaning towards 50 initially, you'll have an extra 50 points in power, or you can spread it out and, you know, for hybrid specs, whatever. There will probably be at some point a way to respec that. Anyway, the other thing to point out is that the gear, all of the stats on the gear, so health, mana, power, this one has some health, mana, armor, This one's got some default stats. They all have some stats, and they actually affect everything right now. They're all tied in, and they work. The calculations are there, so without it, you have a base value. Let's level up one more time. You can see they give me like 200 experience each, but because it's a leveling curve, it increases, you know, not exponentially, but I don't know, there's a word for it. Anyway, so I level up. See, now Resolve has 6. You can see, like, you can really start to boost one stat over the other. That increases your health regeneration and things like that. So now let's equip. You can see as I equip boots, my health and mana goes up. This one has health, mana, armor. All those values go up, and actually this one had power, which when I equipped it, you could see my DPS went from 5 to 10 just from that. So all of this stuff is calculating. All of my stats are actually working, and you can see very quickly as you're equipping epic items with tons of stats just for fun, you're getting, you know, lots of damage boost, health boost, regeneration. And you can see I went from 100 mana to 1200 mana. That's the next thing to talk about, is I have implemented the mana globes. They actually work now. They are fully functional. They're not just like this circular display. Let's get me out of the way over here again so we can see our health globes. And yeah, so we can actually cast mana. Let's go get some spells. Does we have any spells yet? Let's see. Let's get Meteor Shower and Meteor Impact. They now go into my spell book. I can drag and drop them straight onto my bar. Let's get Fireball. Let's put him here. And we'll put that there. So now I've got some spells. I've got a target that I can tab target to, and it selects it very intuitively. If I look away and tab, it will automatically deselect. So you kind of have to think of it, it's like a cone of view. It's kind of, it's not quite 180 degrees, it's like a 150 degree cone in front of you. And if a selectable object or target is in that cone and you hit tab, you will select it, deselect by turning away. You can also deselect by control left clicking into open space. So all of that logic is built in, and it kind of works, you know, how you would expect MMOs to work. I want to make like a unremarkable system that just feels intuitive. Like, it's not game changing, it just works and it's clean and it feels very polished. I spent a lot of time on the tab targeting system, getting that to feel very accurate. And we'll visit that again later with AoE and multiple mobs in another video. Right now we just have our one skeleton, but anyway, we have mana. It's actually slowly regenerating. You can see every 5 seconds we have a tick of 2 mana currently because he's just a level 4 noob, so very slow regen. But one way to regen quickly is to level up. Obviously the level up event, you know, just like I have to mention World of Warcraft, it's not the elephant in the room. Everybody knows what WoW is, and this game is made as a fan of classic WoW specifically. And that's the experience I'm trying to make. Anyway, we've all been in those fights where you pull one too many mobs and you're actually really close to leveling up and there's 3 mobs on you. You have like no health, no mana. You kill one of them and boom, as you level up, everything gets reset to maximum health, maximum mana. You are back in the game. And so that system finally works. It's like every single little thing is like its own module. Like when you level up, you should increase your stats. When you equip gear, you should increase your stats and recalculate. When you unequip, do the reverse calculation. When you level up and you have the primary, add that plus stat. So every little thing, the stamina, the experience, so now that resets your mana. And now we got full mana. Let's throw some fireballs at this guy. Boom. We've got floating damage numbers. We could hit him with a meteor strike. 25 damage, that's cool. Some of the particle effects are like, they're not great, but they're stand-in and they work. So and then you can also rain fire, which actually that one, the damage is set to 0 right now. I haven't filled it in, but it works functionally. But the fireball works. I can throw fireballs and hit him with a meteor. The meteor is really nice. Basically, like, comes raining in from like the sky, like, and hits him. Whereas the projectile comes from my player. And when we eventually kill him, maybe one more. Boom! He dies. He has a death event. No more character. And that's a future feature to drop loot. But we are there. We have network authority. El Druin over here saw me kill him. He says, "What's up?" So anyway, that was like, I have this like notebook of like, talk about this and then talk about this, but like you kind of just roll with it and talk about it as it goes naturally. So I hadn't even finished the inventory conversation. I got sidetracked. So you collect inventory. Oh yeah, like these herbs. Let's just collect a bunch of them. So now I have 10, which is my max stack. Now I'm starting a new stack. So once you hit 10, you will automatically start a new stack. And these herbs are actually set to respawn. So they respawn every few seconds just so I can keep looting and keep leveling and test that whole system. So I can have like infinite herbs here. Alright, so now let's show you the power of the stack feature that I've built into the game, which is pretty unique. I've actually never seen it in another game. It's an original idea, at least until someone copies it, but hey, I made it first, at least as far as I know I did. So typically in a game you would like left shift click or something to split a stack. In my game, just shift left click and drag, you'll take one right off the top. No interface, you don't have to click anything, just left click, drag, you'll take one off. That shift left click, drag. If you just regular left click, drag, you'll move the whole stack. If you shift left click, it'll remove it. To combine them, just drag them on top of each other. If the stack amount is there, they'll recombine. But say you have like bigger stacks, and that's kind of tedious, like one at a time. So I said, what if I just make it, cut it in half? Like you can do really quick reconfiguring if you just cut it in half. So say you got a nice even number like 12 and you want to make some stacks. Instead of shift left click to remove one, if you hold shift and right click and drag, if you hold shift and right click, it actually cuts it in half. So it goes from 8 to 2 stacks of 4. 4, 2 stacks of 2, 2 stacks of 2, 2 stacks of 2. And so like very quickly using that, you can cut your stacks in half, or you can do by 1. Or if it's like an odd number, it actually just rounds it down to the nearest number. But yeah, that's like a really cool way to, if you have like really big stacks, you got 10, boom, now you have 2 stacks of 5 with one click, no extra UI, just a very smart mouse and keyboard gesture. I really like it. I think it's super useful for organization, especially if we get to like an auction house system where, you know, you're out there farming, you got stacks and stacks, but you want to make smaller ones to vendor. Boom, right click, drag. You're cutting them in half, and you can cut 20 to stacks of 5 within 3 clicks. Super easy, super intuitive, I think, and it just feels good. It just works the way you would expect. The other thing, even if you shift left click and drag to take one, it works, the logic works anyway. If I just drop it on here, it actually just dragged one directly onto that stack. I want to just move one onto that stack, it just works. It can take one right off. If there's room, like I could shift right click and combine it. So now it took 4 off, and just go back and forth. And it just works, and it's just smart, and as long as there's space, it will do it. But if you get a stack that's too big, like 6, and let's say I just drag this whole stack of 6 onto the 8, well, you can only add 2 more. So what's going to happen, at least I hope, is it took 2 off, left the remaining 4, and combined the stack to 10. So I've thought about every edge case and every iteration of how the stack logic should work, and it all just works. So that like one feature was like 2 different 100-line scripts just to get it working, but it works really well, and it's nice. So that's the inventory system, at least most of it. I'll get to another feature here in a minute, which is really cool for trading, but let's talk about these other tabs. So we have a backpack. that's kind of like your everything. Like all your standard, your gear, your crafting items, your herbs, your ores, junk, vendor crap, like all your stuff that's like world items goes in your backpack, as you would expect. Then I wanted to separate consumables into their own backpack, just because in WoW I always felt like people kept all their potions in one little bag anyway, but like I just felt like it just made sense to just separate them like logically so that they only filter there. So you kind of have all your consumables in one tab. And then the last one's really just quest items. How many times did you play like a Warcraft quest, especially some of those like collectathon ones where you have like 8 different quest items in your bag and you're waiting to turn in pieces and they're just taking up so much room. Now we just put all the quest items in their own space, they're out of the way, and then your world item bag stays free for stuff. Now, branching off the inventory, we also have these 4 slots here, the Q, E, Shift Q, and Shift E slots. Not to be confused with these 12 slots, which are for spells. These 4 slots here are actually dedicated hotkeys for potions or consumables. So only consumables can go on these slots. And then it gives you a quick hotkey to use them. So functionally, my potions don't work yet. They don't actually do anything. It's labeled a potion and it's treated as a potion, but it doesn't, like I don't have the functionality built yet, so it's still a work in progress. But at least the filtering, the consumable bag, and the potion hotkey bar work. So Q, E, Shift Q, Shift E. Those are 4 like really easy keys, and when you're in the middle of combat, they're going to be super important. You can stack, maybe put like potions on Q and Shift Q, so it's kind of like small potion, or like Shift Q could be like big potion. And then E could be like small mana potion, and Shift E could be like big mana potion. Obviously the keybinds, I will let the player keybind them however you want, but that's how I like to play. Q and E, they're very easy to get to, especially for WASD users, which is everybody, because that's, unless you're one of those weird people that use ESDF. Anyway, get out of here, you Quake players. Just kidding, I love Quake. So anyway, those are the consumables. So imagine I drag them back, and now they're back in here. So they are physically moved to this bar. It's almost like an extension of your actual consumable bag. Imagine your consumable bag had 4 extra slots, and you were able to keybind those slots. So really, they don't mirror. Like if I take it out of my consumable backpack, it ends up here. And the nice thing is, you can split them. That same split logic works the same way. So I could, for whatever reason, if I wanted a different potion on every spot, I could do that. And then you could just combine them. Anyway, so that's the potion system. Right now there's just one small health potion. We'll build that out. We'll have different foods and flasks and enchantments and scrolls and auras and I don't know, shrines, whatever we want to call the enchantments. So that's that system. That works really good, I think. So going to the spellbook is kind of like an inventory system. It's just an inventory for spells. Spells are items in the world. So like when you learn a new spell, like this meteor shower spell, it's literally just like a spell book in the game, just like any other loot item, and you go up to it and loot it. Now in my case, I already own this spell. So when you loot a spell for the first time, it goes into your spell book as a single unique entry. If you happen to find this book out in the world again, you basically can't do anything with it. And you know what I just realized? Is you can't hear any of my audio this whole time. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you get this, been playing without the sound effects. There we go. See that? Back over here. Let's see. Sorry, mouse is all over the place. Anyway, when you click on it, you get a little sound, and then you already own this spell. So I can't loot it again. So spells are unique in that you can only collect them once. Now the idea is that I actually want to have different tiers of each spell. So you could have Fireball level 1, and you'll get that very early on in the game. It'll be common, it'll be everywhere. Everybody will have Fireball. Now getting Fireball level 2, you'll have to level up at a certain point. You'll have a quest that will allow you to go find that scroll to upgrade your ability, but it'll be a new book and it will override the original. The other idea is that because these are items, I can make rare spells. So just like we have rare epic items, we could have epic spells that maybe a certain boss drops a spell book that's a rare spell and only one person's going to get it. And this is a differentiator I don't think a lot of games have done, and I really want to make this part of my game because it's part of the Diablo / Zelda / Warcraft mashup that I'm trying to make, is that spells are going to be an extension of your gear. You can see here on the action bar that we only have 12 slots. We have a row of 6 and another row of 6. Simple hotkeys right now, 1 through 6, and then shift 1 through 6. Very easy to hit all those within reason as you play. Again, players can customize as they want. That's fine. But we're only going to have 12 spell slots in the game. I mean, maybe it'll be 10 by the time I'm done. Maybe it'll be 14. I don't know. But it's going to be a fixed number, and you're going to have way more spells in your spell book than you're able to equip. And so you actually can't cast these from the spell book. You can only cast them on your action bar. And that's a key thing, is that it's almost like in the way that you take gear from your equipment bag and you equip it to your character window, you're going to take spells from your spell book and equip them. So it's not like WoW where you just have an action bar and you just keybind it. You're actually equipping a spell, and it's a limited amount, and you won't be able to equip all of them. And so maybe you'll have to be in a city, or there'll be some kind of potion or a scroll you can use that will allow you to respec out in the wild. But I may lock it to like cities where you can actually go and rearrange your spells and change it out. But you're going to have pages and pages of spells, and that's kind of going to be like part of your identity, is like, what spells do you like to use? Every player can use different ones. If they want more defensive spells, they can build that. If they want more offense, they want more glass cannon, more tanky. Like, you're going to have a wide range of spells, and you're going to build out your spec, like, with what spells you want to use. And there's also, it's not even what you want to use, it's what spells do you even have? What have you found? They're not just going to be given to you for free from some spell trainer. You're going to have to do quests. You're going to have to find them. You're going to have to explore. You're going to have to go into the old abandoned library in the edge of the forest, and maybe on some bookshelf there's like a little spell book hidden in there, and if you find it, you get to have that spell. Or they could be quest rewards, they could be boss drops. So spells are really going to be treated much like items in the game, and you know, it's really like, you know, oh, that mage, he's awesome, he's got the epic pyro ball of fire, and nobody else on the server has it because it drops, you know, from some super hard boss. Or maybe there's like a rare spell that spawns once a week, so one person on the whole server can get that spell, and that's it. Nobody else gets the spell until next server reset. So stuff like that is things I'm thinking about, trying to make really creative things, and really have spells be an extension. So anyway, that's kind of the inventory system. Consumables, quests, we got the action bar, the spell book. We went through a lot of the character window. Expanded stats is a work in... That's actually, I forgot that was there. That's my original UI. It needs to be replaced, but it's still there. That will show all of your like regen, your crit percentage, all the more fine-tuned details of like what your stats actually mean. That'll show up here. You know, your health regen, whatever it is. So that's the character window. Let's see. All of these are spell resist for all the different elements in the game. There's 10 total. Fire, water, essence, which is life. It is not life. It's like the soul. It's like the spark of life, the soul. Then you have earth. You have light. You have shadow. You have metal, which is actually its own element, metal. And then you have the ether, you have wind, and you have nature. So those are the 10 elements of the game. Let's see. Let me check my list. So a lot of this refactor was getting this whole inventory and action bar and spell system working server authoritative, so that when I cast the fireball, I actually have to check with the server, do I have enough mana? The server says, is the target valid? Does he have enough mana? Is he within range? Allow player to cast spell. And that's the server authority that's really important in MMOs. Having everything come off the server to eliminate hacks and cheating. Anyway, so let's see. Where are we? Spells, targeting, combat. We did a lot of that. Swords, shields, axes. Oh my. All right, let's just take a dive there. Not all of my work is doing programming. I'm actually a environment and a modeler by original trade. And so I have actually started creating some original 3D models. So we got like a staff here, and this is the style of the game that I'm actually looking for. This is what things are going to look like in the game. We got this like crystal mace, you know, a basic shield. We've got this like earth axe, and so all these are original made 3D models. They're not actually equipable yet because I haven't configured them. They're just objects. But once I get all their scripts and stuff attached, let me hide all this UI so you can see. We got this ram skull shield, and we've actually got like the arm loops in there, which I thought was important to make it feel practical. Skull axe, you know, this spiky thing. So all these are original. Look at this bone reaver mace, a holy shield. We got a spiky ball. So these are some weapons that are going to be coming into the game. This is the art style we're going to be using, and really cool. We got this skull shield, and then some like basic stuff like some meat cleavers, a little billy club. We got this nice wooden shield. But yeah, this is the art style that the game is going to go in. A lot of the world and the environment doesn't represent this because I'm using some assets from the marketplace. But it's a really good start to get me a world to run around in, and then eventually I'll retexture it with a lot more of like that hand-painted high fantasy look, and it'll look kind of like this. Let's see, we got some swords back here. They're a bit shiny right now. I gotta tune those materials. And yeah, so that's some fun stuff I've been doing, is, you know, getting back into the modeling world and making some fun props from scratch. So the tools and technology to do this now is so much different than it was just a couple years ago. Like, I made all of these props, I don't know, there's probably like 12 of them or something, in like one day. Like one day of work using these new like AI pipelines. It's just the iterative flow of how you can make 3D models now with AI that are optimized, that are they're made to run in real time, they're low poly. It's so awesome. And so this is really gonna just take my workflow to the next level. Being able to create this stuff just super fast. And it's just so, I mean, it's so good. Like, look at this, hand painted, like not hand painted, but it looks hand painted. But yeah, some awesome swords. So that's some cool stuff. That's the spell system, the stacking system. Let's see what else we can talk about. Oh yeah, trade. Say you want to just like get rid of items, like your bag's full. I've showed this in other videos, but I had to, again, a lot of this stuff is the same logic that I've showed previously, but now it's actually being done in a more robust way through the server. If I want to get rid of gear, I have this temporary UI that if I drag outside of this little square, these things pop up, and I can destroy something, literally just, it's gone. Like, you're never getting it back. And so one feature to add is like a "Are you sure?" click to confirm button. So I don't want you to like accidentally delete stuff. Right now it just does it, and that's not good because this is a epic dagger that I just deleted. So we will add a safeguard onto that feature, but for now, the cooler one is this drop feature. If I go onto the drop, I literally just take the item and throw it out of my backpack and throw it on the ground. Like, hey, I don't really care. Somebody else can have it. So like that's kind of unique. Like you can't really trade things like that in a lot of games. Like literally I can just take this helmet. They all have physics, they all have a collider, so they go on the ground, they collide, and then the collider is destroyed so that they no longer interact. But it's very reliable. The physics is pretty good. It took a long time to figure it out, to get it to feel right. Oh yeah, here we go. We got a nice rifle. That's cool. Oh yes, the other thing I haven't talked about, and I actually mentioned this, I think in my very first video, which was like a 1-hour video that I ever made, is this 3-weapon system that I always envisioned having, and I finally finished it. So what we have is a dedicated 2-hand slot. You can always have one 2-handed weapon, and it'll go here. Whether it's like a 2-handed rifle or a big 2-handed sword, it swaps into that first weapon slot, as you can see. Then you have a main hand and an offhand slot. And so the main hand and offhand is actually... it could be 2 one-handed weapons, or it could be like a main tanking weapon and a shield, or the offhand could be like a scroll or a book or a rune or something for spellcasters. But now we basically have 3 slots. And so the 2-hander goes on the back. All 2-handers, if I swap out this, it goes on his back. That's actually rotated 180 degrees the other way, but that's a small thing to fix. It goes on his back, and the other ones go on the hip. However, if the offhand happens to be a shield, I added special logic that the shield goes on the back and the main hand goes on the hip. This way, you're always able to accurately display 3 items of any type. Whether you have a 2-hander, it goes on the back, and then the shield goes over it, and then the main hand goes on the hip. And then we also have a Z sheath and unsheath toggle system that basically rotates between the 3 states. Like right now, everything is sheathed. If I hit Z the first time, the 2-hander comes out first. If I hit Z again, it switches to main hand, offhand, and if I hit Z a third time, it goes back to default. And so right now there's no animation, but you can imagine eventually there'll be like a pulls it out or pulls his hands out and does that kind of thing. But we'll be self-aware that we know that there's a sword on the hip, we know the shield's on the back, so we can customize the animation to match those states. And so again, like if I have a shield for an offhand, it goes on the back. But if I come over here and I loot this axe, which is actually a one-handed weapon, you can see on the tooltip it says one-hand axe. A one-handed weapon can actually go in either of these 2 slots. Whereas this sword, it's a main hand. So the main hand can only go in this slot. It can't go on this slot. You can see that? But if I take this out of my bag, this is a one hand, which means it can go in either slot. And as I move it, it shifts from hip to hip. So if we grab 2 of them, we can now dual wield axes. Oh, I apologize again. That is so frustrating. So I think I'm just talking like a mile a minute, trying to smash this. We're already at like an hour, so that's fun. And I feel like there's so much more to cover that I haven't got to, but we're gonna get there. So now, yeah, we have the 3-weapon system. We can have 2 one-handers, and they go on the hip. Actually, his placement is a little bit off, but I can customize that later. Or if we swap to a shield, the shield always goes on the back, the axe stays there, and the character is always aware of what combination of weapons you have, because I have this pretty like intricate logic system that checks for all the variable combinations of main hand to offhand shield, which is like an additional subclass of offhand, or main hand one hand, or one hand. The 2-hand's easy. The 2-hand goes here every time, and all 2-handers just go on the back. Like that's straightforward. Like this glaive, that's a 2-hand. That just goes on his back. That thing's huge. That thing's cool. I always liked this weapon. But yeah, so that's the weapon system. That's working good. And again, we have the name. If you don't want to see your player name, you just hit Alt-V. Alt-V will toggle off your name. If you don't like seeing all of these labels, which there's not that many anymore because I've looted everything, if you do Shift-V, it'll toggle off all world labels, independent of your thing. So Shift-V for world labels, Alt-V for my label, and then actually Control-V for other players, but I actually lost my other player. Let me log him back in. He was idle, and he got kicked out. So let's log in another character, and then I can show you how they display. And now you're about to get multiple audio streams in your ear because that's just how it goes. So they're about to log in. So there she is. She logged in. And let me grab her and move her. Ah, I'm getting all twisted on my mouse. And then let's grab one more player and have him connect in. Come on. Oh, don't tell me it's broken. Don't be broken. Oh, Christ. That's not a good idea. Oh, I might have found a big bug. This was working one commit ago. I might have broke it on my last commit. I think it's actually because they are on slightly different build versions on this other build. Oh, man, that's not good. Am I getting a console? Why I can't connect? This is bad. Live. Hey, we're doing it live. Sometimes things break. Let me make sure my oh, because yeah. Let's see. This should fix it. Hopefully. Otherwise, I just found a very catastrophic bug that has popped up somewhere. Okay. Whew. Oh, she logged in and leveled. That was a weird bug. I think I know what happened, and I can fix that later. Anyway, so back to my main character. We have these two new players. Let me kill an audio so you don't hear triple audio like I hear on my headset. Okay, so my health bar, or my name, is blue. And if I hit Alt-V, it'll toggle off my name. If I hit Control-V, it'll toggle off other players' names. And Shift-V for the world. So I wanted to give you like full customization, like maybe there's too many labels on the screen. Shift-V, get rid of those. If I don't ever want to see my label, but I want to see other players, we can do that. And so now we have like a full MMO world where we're all connected, we see each other. You know, they're on my other screen, so I'm playing these characters, but they're connected through the server in the same way. And then also this character can run around and collect some stuff. So yeah, I mean the game is coming along. It's feeling real, and like, you know, there's a lot of little pieces to figure out. Like building an MMO is a very complicated thing. Just getting like this working, getting fully customized characters on screen. You know, we have like a human here who looks like this guy with the glowing hair. We got a human. We've got like this elf, and then we have this human chick, and they're all totally unique characters. We're all spawned in the world. We all have our own player data. We see the same events. We're synced through network. Our spells are transmitted. Like, if one player levels up, everybody else sees that character level up. And let's level her up. She gets it's just cool. Even we get the sound effects, so there's 3D sound. That's another, like, there's so many little nuanced details that you have to account for when you build these systems. You can't just like you have to account for it or it just doesn't feel good. So when a player levels up, there's actually 3D sound, so that like if I'm way over here and that player levels up, like maybe I'll still see the effect. Actually, I don't know how far the distance is, but I don't want to hear it because I'm too far away. So only the people in the vicinity will actually hear that sound on their screen from another player. And then at a certain point, I think it's 50 yards, I stop seeing the particle effect. So let's level her up again. Okay, so you can actually see it, and you hear it because you're hearing multiple streams. But anyway, yeah, that's the 3D sound feature. It does actually work, even though I didn't explain it very good. Got some new axes, just lots of stuff going on. Different helmets, swords. So the game, like it feels really good to play. I didn't really show earlier the health and mana. Let me go ahead and disconnect them. Bye-bye. They disconnect instantly. That's another feature I'm working on. Let me get back to my list. I'm getting so off track. Network Refactor. Talked about that. Done. Spells, targeting, combat. Previewed it a little bit. It's very primitive right now. It's basically select a target, cast some spells, do some damage, and they die. It's very bare bones. I'm not like taking some system from some marketplace and like, hey, that's a combat system, I'm gonna steal. Like, I'm literally building my entire game, every component from scratch. And I wanted to do it this way because I want complete ownership and understanding of it. I don't want to just buy some like module that has a bunch of code and like info and does it, and then I click a button and it works. Like, yeah, cool, but like a lot of times those don't feel good. They don't integrate with your system good. Like, you want to own the code. You want to own the code base, and I want full logic and understanding of everything I build. And so I'm building it all from scratch, from the ground up. And it's the right way to do it, because if something breaks, I have like a master understanding of everything in the scene. Like, okay, this is the inventory slot script, and this is the inventory spell slot script, and this is the inventory consumable slot script, and this is the health globe script, and everything is like its own little script and module, and it has an inventory manager and an equipment manager, and it all tracks through a save database, and it's uploaded to a cloud server, and the order of operations that your appearance data loads, and all these things, I've built them from scratch, and I'll continue to do so. And so the combat system is primitive. You know, I can select him and target him and kill him. He doesn't do anything, he doesn't attack me, and that's fine for now. I'm happy with just this stage of progress. We will get to that later, and I kind of look at the combat as like really one of the most important. So in my mind, I'm like, I want to get everything like done up to that point, like all the basic world building, like make the inventory work, make the spell casting work, like all the functional stuff, and then get to the combat. It's going to take the most amount of time. It's going to take a huge amount of time. And so I want to be at a point where like all the infrastructure and the world is there ready for combat. You know, I've got respawnable characters, I've got health bars, I've got floating health bars, I've got floating damage numbers. Like, all these things had to be built up first in that order, so that when you finally get to the combat, it feels like it's ready to be evolved. And so that's where we're at. The swords, axes, and shields, oh my, that's basically showing off some new models coming into the game. I like this bone skull axe, pretty cool. The acolyte class is going to have this like priest staff, which looks pretty gnarly. Yeah, mercenary is going to have like these bone weapons. Crusader class, like all the different classes. We'll get to that later. Let's see. Gear and stats. We went through all of the gear and stats. That's working great. Persistent data and cooldowns. Okay, this one's actually important. And I don't know if I even have the correct spell in here to demonstrate this system. But one thing I want to do is have Let me rephrase what I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say. I don't. You have to build these games in mind with anti-cheat and anti-hack, and so everything has to go through a server. If you allow the client to dictate its own health and the client to dictate its mana and its cooldowns, you could theoretically, I mean, I know I could because I know how to do it, but like you could get into the source code of the game and modify it and give yourself like infinite cooldowns. So everything actually has to go through the server where you don't have access to make those checks, and you're basically just asking permission, and the server is saying yes or no. So all you can do is send a request like, hey, I want to cast a fireball at this target. And the server says, okay, do you have mana? Yes. Are you within range? Yes. Is that a valid target? Yes. Is it alive? Yes. And it does all these checks like very quickly. Obviously, it's a computer, like nanosecond. And then it sends you back like, yes, okay, all of that checked out. You're a valid player. I know who you are. I'm tracking your position. You're on the server. There's character ID. You can attack that character. You'll get the credit for killing it. When you kill it, you get the loot. So like all of that stuff is like this huge chain of command, and you have to build it that way. So I wanted to add cooldowns to the system. I'm actually going to come out of play mode here. I got to fix something in the scene. We're going to grab this. Where am I? We're going to put a new spellbook in the system. This scroll. Let's make it magical. We'll bring it up. We'll add a rotate object script. We'll save, and we will. So, jump. This is like the default scene. So all these windows start open by default. They're kind of pre-filled. You can see I actually have a lot of spells that I'm in the process of making. They're not all finished, but there's some placeholders of stuff to come. I have lots of different potions as well, at least visually, but there's still some setup. Anyway, let's jump back in, and I can show you this persistent data, which is what I'm calling. I actually haven't talked about my character screen either. I'm really happy with my character creation screen. Like it's so good. So I'll do a recap of it in case anybody hasn't seen it. It's nice to know how it works. You log into the game. This is going to be through Steam. So you're going to be your Steam is your authentication. So when you log in through Steam, you just launch the game. There's no like additional login. You're going to go straight into the game, straight to your character window. If you are like a brand new player for the very first time, you're going to be like, let's say slot 9, for example. You're going to have an empty screen that's basically you can do nothing. There's no enter world button because you don't have any characters. So let's just go through and create a character. Click the create character button and you'll get randomized option. We have the humans, the dryads, the noblins, and the fallen. And then you also have male and female, respectively. And so every time you click one, it randomizes their appearance. So you can literally just click human, human, human until you get a randomizer. You also have this random button down here. And that basically just goes through all of the sliders. So you got hair sliders, and they all work super fast, super like intuitive. You've got beard sliders, and they're just super fast. Like everything, and like it looks trivial. Like oh, you're just like yeah, every game has character customization, but like mine's like super fast. And the way it is you're actually retargeting to the animation. Anyway, most people don't care how that works. They just want it to work. But it works, and it's awesome. And if hair has like additional hair bones because they have like a ponytail and you want like an additional physics so that it waves, when you retarget in real time, you actually have to add or destroy bones on the fly. And so my script accounts for all that. And it's cool. Anyway, we can zoom in if we want to get close to our character. We can get close. We can zoom back out. Eventually there'll be a toggle armor on and off. Right now it's not set up. But anyway, you got different noses. Maybe you can't see. Let's see. It's got different noses you can pick from. There you go. Let's give him a piercing. And teeth, I think, is not set up yet. But apart from that, you got hair, hair color. Kind of like the blonde hair. It's cool. And then skin tones as well. And so we've got a whole range of skin tones and different range of coffee-colored people. So then you'll select your race, your male or female, and then you will select a class. The Tempest, the Sorcerer, the Acolyte, the Mercenary. Oh, let me move myself out of the way, actually. I'm blocking something. So I've added a small, like, preliminary tooltip to kind of tell you a little bit about what each class does. So let's see, if you select Tempest, you know, you are a water magic, you use cloth, you have weakness to earth, you have different specs, illusion or conjurer. A sorcerer has chaos and incantation. Their weakness is water, their fire type is magic. And so it just goes through like a basic descriptor. The mercenary is, you know, physical damage. The zealot is holy damage, engineer, etc. So once you've figured out what your customization is, you've created a character. You've got all these different options: male, female, whatever. Elf, male, female. I'm just randomizing so you can see how much variety there really is. And this is like super early on. All of this will probably be completely redone, but it's... I talk so fast I get ahead of myself. Like, in game dev, there is like... Sometimes I spend time making things work that I know is just total throwaway. But like in my head, I need to like kind of see at least a version of it through so that I can visualize if I even like it. And so I had to create a bunch of appearance options for all these characters that I don't necessarily love, but I just needed to like throw some paint on the wall and see how it looks. And so all this will be scrapped, but like it gives me like, okay, this is cool. Like it's starting to feel good. You got hair, you got facial hair, and you can just totally like tweak your guy and make him like custom, and it feels good. And so I needed to make all these options just to like test it for myself. And so everything that you see is work in progress. Potentially you will never see it again. It's early development and it's placeholder, and it serves the purpose of exactly what it needs to do, is just give you a reference. Like a lot of programmers that are strict programmers, like I'm an artist first and a developer like third, really. But a lot of like developer first people, like they're totally fine with building a game using like the default text box and like just a polygon like square man. And like, yeah, it works, but like I'm going to be staring at this thing over and over, and I just want it to look a little bit better than like a square polygon man or like a standard like just default UI element. And so I'll download these asset UI packs and like build this UI, and it just like, it's not final. I don't love the way this UI looks. I actually think it looks terrible, but it's better than like square black and white square text. So that's my like thought process, is like I spend a little bit of time kind of making like a half-ass version of what the UI could look like, knowing that it will not look like that, but it's better than like looking at something that's just like super ugly and basic. So that's how I look at it. I'm always spending time down these like art rabbit holes of like building random icons. I'm like, this is just like chat GPT like character icons that I just needed like a placeholder. I needed something that I'd be like, okay, this is like the warden. When I see this icon in the game, this green staff, that's the warden. This is the mercenary. This is the nomad. This is the archon. They're all like subject to change, and they almost certainly will. And it didn't take that much effort with the way that you have image generation tools. Like you can just pump these icons out so quick, and that's what I do. Is I just need something as a placeholder. It doesn't need to be perfect. Doesn't need to be final, but it gives me like a good look and feel of like how it's coming along. So anyway, that's a lot of rambling. Let's join the world as, I don't even know. I'm like, whatever. Let's make this guy, let's call him Chuck in honor of old Chuck Norris, because he kind of looks like him there. Maybe not the hair. Let's give him some Chuck Norris hair, dude. There you go. There's Chuck Norris, I think. You know, throwback. Go a little bit lighter. There you go. Chuck Norris is coming into the game. Oh, I didn't select the class. We will do a Tempest Wizard, and we'll join. So here we go. So brand new account. Once you have a character, now the Enter World button shows up because you actually can enter the world. And so I'm logged into account 9. That's almost like its own, like, your login. Like, imagine this is one unique player's login. They log in, they see this. And then you also have your server list. So I come here, I can change my server. And as I change servers, like, all your characters disappear. If I go back to Atlantis, my character shows up again. So the server list is there and all of that. And then the test accounts just allows me to, like, very quickly play test as multiple players. And so that's how I play test the game. All right, let's enter world. Because I forgot what I was showing this for. Let's begin the adventure. Oh yeah, and so he actually starts naked, which is a feature that I'm working on. He's actually supposed to have that default starting armor, but I think I stripped it away because I was testing. Anyway, there happens to be some free gear right here. So let's grab some pants. Let's grab a shirt. Let's grab this epic Skeleton King helmet. Yeah, that's nice. Let's find some boots, legendary boots. And you can see, I don't know if you noticed, they have this like nice beacon, you know, it's just to help, like the legendary and the epic stuff might have something like this just to help show it. But you can see, like, the armor in the game is, like, actual 3D models. Like, these are actually, like, boots. So, like, there's no, like, little loot window. Like, I want the weapons and the stuff to feel like real things in the game. Like, oh, I found these boots. Like, let me just grab these boots and put some boots on. Oh, okay. I don't want those boots anymore. All right, bye-bye boots, and dump them off and disappear. And so that all works good. Let's see. I think there's some shoulder pads. I think there's some gloves. Yeah, let's look. Let's take a look. So again, like, the gloves are like literally the actual gloves of like what they look like. That's the actual 3D model. And so I can just come up and grab gloves and put gloves on. And so the visual representation sometimes is actually a different object than the one you actually equip. So the one you actually equip is a skinned mesh renderer. It's an animated object, so it actually binds. Because if you have gloves, it's actually two gloves. There's a left glove and a right glove, and they're very separate from each other. But when I'm making the loot system, I have to make like a dummy world version. So gloves in the game is actually just two gloves, kind of like glued to each other, which isn't like perfect, but I think it's enough that it sells the illusion. Maybe there's like a little chain holding them together. So you loot one item, but it's actually two gloves. So hope that makes sense. So now we're all geared out. Let's grab my favorite polearm. It's the I Am Not a Spear Glorious Glaive. Let's see, we got a shield. So I always like this shield. And let's go find a one-handed weapon. Anyway, so now that we've equipped a bunch of gear, we have very low mana, right? So let's level up. Now we have full mana. Let's put our sound back on. Sorry, keep forgetting. Killed the sound. So now we've got full mana. So now let's cast some spells. So we got to go collect some spells because we're a brand new character. Let's get a fireball, meteor shower, and so you can see as you collect them, here we got the void shield. It goes into your spell book, meteor impact, and so this void shield, let's put it on number 6. It actually has a 5-minute cooldown. So this 5-minute is being tracked by the server. So I wanted to make sure I took into, and this again, this is normal stuff that games do, but you have to think about it as a new developer. Like, sometimes you're building a game, you don't realize all the edge cases you have to solve. Like, if I Alt F4 and dip out, I need to make sure I'm always like saving timestamps of stuff so that when I log back in, I can't like bypass that 5 minutes. And so also with like the health and mana, like let's cast some spells. I'll put them here so you can actually see them. So you can see my health and mana are actually being cast. Am I not even hitting him? Why is he not taking damage? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm casting spells. For some reason, my meteor keeps missing. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. 38. So it's like a slight randomized value. 39. But anyway, you can see my mana is actually going down. I have this relatively simple, like, animated. Let's pause. We're gonna zoom in. Come here. Got this, like, relatively animated, I don't know. It's not perfect. Again, sometimes this goes back to what I just said. Sometimes I spend like a couple hours animating this like stupid mana globe, knowing that that's not the final look, and it's gonna be a lot better than that. We're gonna polish it, but like for my play testing, like I want to see like an animated thing. So it's got some like fluid effects. It's bouncing around in there. It's masked out, so it's self-contained in the little glass. And like so, sometimes I'll spend like a couple hours making this feature work, just knowing that way later on in development it's going to be scrapped, it's going to be polished, it's going to make it, we're going to make it a little better, but I need like a good enough version. There was this like expression that was going around my job some year or two ago, and I think they all went to the same convention and they all came back saying it. Like every manager for like a week kept saying it, and it was a good saying, but it was just funny when it happened. It was like, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Like, good is good enough. Like, don't chase perfection. You're going to waste time. Just get things, like, good enough. Like, it's that 80-20 rule. Like, you can do things 20%, and it's usually good enough. It's that extra 80% that's all polish and, like, detail, and it's not important early on. Like, just do the 20%. It's good enough. Move on. And so, like, yeah, maybe I spent too much time, or it really wasn't that much time, to be honest. It was probably, like, 1 hour. But like it was just me like tinkering. Like I just want to get this to work. I don't want it to just be like this flat like I could have just made it a slider where it just like went straight down and it was like a flat bar. But I was like, how can I make it like a little fluid thing? And it was a good exploration. So anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that if I pause, come back, if I have a limited amount of mana and it's regenerating, and I have a spell on cooldown, and I just quit the game, Alt F4, disappear, what happens is I'm actually timestamping it when I first cast it. And so when I reconnect, it's not like I have to calculate how the timers are ticking offline. I'm not doing that. I'm actually just recalculating from scratch the last timestamp. So I have a save entry that when you click that spell, it creates a save entry at this timestamp, and it's based on my server time, not your local clock. Because somebody could mess with a lot of games actually use the Windows clock. You'd be surprised how many are based on the local Windows, which is bad because you can change it and manipulate things. So mine's based on server authority, so it's the server time only, so the client has no way to manipulate it. But it basically says like, hey, you cast that at 12:23. When I log back in, that timer will pick up exactly where it was because it's just going to recalculate it from scratch. So if I connect again, and also my mana regeneration. So imagine you have 50% mana and you log off. Whatever time it takes while you're in game to regenerate that mana is the same out of. Oh, I don't know why I leveled up. That was weird. But anyway, you can see I came back in. I still have 1 minute left on the cooldown and my mana is still regenerating. Now, if I logged out for 1 more minute, this cooldown would be finished, but also however long it takes this mana to regenerate, if I log out for that amount of time, when I log back in, it'll be as if it regenerated. So I want it to always feel like authentic. You can't just like Alt F4 and bypass like some regeneration and some cooldowns. Like it's always going to be accurate whether you're online or offline. Your stat regeneration is always consistent. And so that was actually a really big piece. And it's part of what I call my persistent data. Like I need certain aspects of the game to be persistent because I don't want players to hack. And the other thing is like if you're being, and this is why WoW has that like 20-second log off rule. It gives them perfect timing to calculate like the very last save. Like you can't just like aggro a bunch of mobs and then they're killing you, and you just like Alt F4 and you disappear, and then all of a sudden you log back in 30 minutes later and they all reset and you're alive again. Like, no, it's going to calculate that extra 10 seconds as if you were in the world. It's going to create a final save entry, and if you died in that time, when you log back in, you're going to be dead. So I'm doing the same kind of logic to make sure there's no way to bypass, no way to hack, like just logging out and reconnecting. And so that stuff's all important. That's the persistent data. There's more features on that to come. Let me see what else is on my list. Arcana. Arcana. Do I even want to talk about that? That's like a teaser. I could maybe speak on it a little bit because I think it's cool. It's like a mini game within the world. So in this world that I'm building, Agartha, and I have an entire world map that I've built. I've already mapped out all the zones, all the factions, all the leaders, all the conflicts, the names of the cities, the general path and flow. I have a whole like geographical map that I've drawn up. And I don't want to share it. Well, I do want to share it. That's the problem, is like I'm trying to build this game as open and transparent as like any game developer possibly could. Like I want to show you guys everything I'm doing, but at the same time I'm like, well, if I just show everything, then by the time they play the game, nothing will be a surprise, nothing will be new, so what's the point of playing? So I'm almost like just keeping myself in these like generic like sandbox levels and just playing here, because this level is also like, this level is not going to exist in the game the way you see it right now. It's going to be completely re-overhauled. But for now, it's fine as a giant sandbox. I got a big open space. I got this like beautiful world. I can feel immersed. And this is the thing I always talk about. Like it's good enough. Like it looks great. It doesn't have post-processing. It doesn't even have good lighting. It's like a single sunlight, directional light, and it's fine. Like it's not optimized. Like none of that matters at this stage in development, because like, you know, I'm still getting 60 frames a second, and I'm running this at 4K, and I'm also running like 3 other versions and recording software and an editor, and like all, and I'm getting great frame rate. So none of it matters right now. Optimization, lighting, post-processing, all that will come later. 20% is good enough for today. So anyway, what was I even talking about? I got distracted. Persistent data. Oh, I think. Oh no, Arcana. Talking about world building. World building is so much fun. I love world building, and I've been building this world in my head for like 15 years. Like I actually bought the domain for this IP back in 2014. So even in 2014, I had already been thinking about it for years before that. So like this thing has been burning in my head. Like this is the game I've always wanted to make, and the technology and the tools are ripe right now, and the time is right. And 2026 is the year I wanted to do it. Finally, you know. And now I'm just like all in. I'm absorbed. Like I don't even play video games anymore. I literally abandoned all of that. Every ounce of free time I get at night is just sunk into this game. Like I ironically, as much as I love video games and I'm trying to make a game, I look at playing video games as like the biggest waste of time right now, because I'm like every minute, every hour I spend like just gaming, which is what I want to do, I'm not developing my world, and it's 1 hour delayed from getting released. So I basically made the sacrifice to like just abandon gaming for a while and just sink. Every once in a while, I got to jump into a Call of Duty map and, you know, blow some steam off and play for 30 minutes. But like in general, I'm not playing any games right now, and I'm all in on this project. And so as I build my world building, Arcana is this idea I had, and it do I want to share? I do. I'll just tease what it is. I'm not going to tell you any more about it. Arcana is like the game that the people in this world play. So it is a... How do I want to describe it without giving it away? It's a card game. It's like a classic card game, not like a 52 deck of cards, like a custom card deck. And it's kind of like... I've already built out the game and mocked it up. I have a version I can play test, and it's actually really fun. But it's like the game of this world that all the people play, and it's going to tie into the game a lot. And it's like a huge... I don't want to say it's like a copy of Gwent, like in The Witcher, where The Witcher has this like Gwent. But that's kind of where I got the idea. Is like this... it's the game that the people of this world play. It's called Arcana. It's kind of like a card game. It's kind of like chess, and it's kind of like tarot cards and zodiacs, if any of that makes sense. Like it ties the whole world together. So there's cards that are like the king, but it's actually the king of like the Emberstone mine, and he's like a character in the, because the players of the world look up to and idolize and demonize these leaders and these places. And so they've built their game around these pieces, and these players are actual card games. And anyway, that's Arcana. More on that later. It's just like, that's coming along. That's like a whole side derail, but it's fun sometimes going down these explorative things. All right, I think we're coming to the end of the live stream. I have rambled enough. Let me take one break for 1 second. Let's see, I don't even know if I've had any viewers. I actually haven't been watching. I haven't been watching my stats at all. I've just been rambling. And I kind of anticipated this just being a video that maybe just go back and watch. Like, nobody's actually going to watch it live. I don't have an audience yet. I have like 300 subscribers, which I love. All 341 of you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for jumping in early. What was I going to say? Let me go through my list here. Inventory review, equipment review, stats, and formulas. Yeah, the formulas. I kind of didn't touch on that. I've already started designing like an in-depth formula system for all my stats, and so if I want 10 power to equal 1 DPS, then I just change that value. So I have this whole like formula sheet. It's very easy to modify, and so as I play test, I can tune and tweak that stuff. So that's pretty cool. We talked about primary stats. That gives you that extra +1 when you level up. Fully customizable at any time. So if you know you're about to level, switch it to whatever stat you want, and then next level you can keep it there or change it. Like fully dynamic, all user control. Tool tips. Oh yeah, this was the one thing I I was about to ask it, and then I got distracted, which is what happens every time I talk. Is when I hover over the tooltip, the standard tooltip is to put it in this bottom right corner, and everything updates no matter where I'm hovering. But there is a setting that I actually added, and it's a toggle, and some items are set this way because I'm kind of see what I like better. It's that instead of having the tooltip show up in the bottom corner always, the tooltip will actually show up where the item is. So like this helmet, for example, when I hover, the tooltip goes right to where my mouse is. And I kind of like that idea. It's like it's right on screen, where like if I hover on these, it's all down in the corner. And it's consistent and predictable that way. But also I like the idea that like if I hover like on this helm, it actually tracks my mouse. And so as my mouse moves, the tooltip is right there. I don't know. Does anybody like that? Does that feel smart? I don't know. I kind of think it's neat, maybe for some use case, but I think the default will be that it'll all just go to this bottom corner. And the other thing is like this tooltip is the same tooltip, and so for world items, it goes to this bottom corner or it goes to the item. Those are two options when I set up a piece of gear. For my action bar, it goes local to the action bar to the top left corner. Inventory is also the top left corner. So if I'm on this square, it's the top left corner is the bottom right corner of the tooltip, and that works really well. And then on the equipment, it's actually the opposite because it's on this side of the screen. I need it to go that way, so it's actually the top right corner. And so those are some custom rules with the tooltip. The tooltip knows like where it is in the world. Like it knows, is this an action bar that I'm on? Display it this way. Is this the inventory? Display it this way. Is it this one? Display it this way. Is it the spell book? Display it this way. Is it a world item? And so that's another like really robust feature that I spent a lot of time on, was the tooltip system. It's one generic tooltip, and I have all these fields, and based on if data is valid or null, it either displays it or it doesn't display it. So, like if it has health and mana and armor, it displays that icon and that label. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And so in that way, it's always custom. So, we talked about persistent data, weapons, pop-ups, like we did do that. Trading, like just throwing loot out is just like so much fun. Like let's just loot a bunch of stuff. It's all physics based, which is like the coolest thing. Yeah, click, 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 click. Click, 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 click. Alright, and then let's just like stand in one spot and just dump everything. Now one issue that could happen is I could foresee like they're becoming this like graveyard in the game where like everybody throws their loot to try to break the game. Like how many items could you literally throw on top of each other before the game like broke? Now I have like 10 items. And so one thing I might implement is like a limit, like you've disposed of too many items, please wait X amount of time. And what that's going to do is when I actually start disposing items, there's going to be a silent 5-minute timer. So if I throw these pants out, there will be a silent 5-minute timer that starts right now, and then at the final 1 minute, it'll actually pop up next to the label like 59, 58, and basically tell you like, hey, if you don't recollect this thing, it's going to just delete from the world. This allows like world cleanup and allows me to manage like players thinking they're funny, just like making like a giant junkyard pile trying to break the game with like hundreds of items. So we'll limit it to like, you can't discard more than 5 items or 10 items per minute, and then those timers will start naturally self-destructing items, so it should mitigate like spamming and like trolls, at least to an extent. We'll have to play test how that works with hundreds of people, but I'm always thinking about edge cases. Like you have to always think of like the weirdest scenario that could happen, and it's like, yeah, this is a cool system, but like, okay, what if you get like 50 people, they're like, let's just break the server, and they start just like dumping all their like scrap and like crap items, because everything in the game is going to be an item. Like everything that drop, like some scrap metal, like you loot that, it'll be like an actual little 3D model of some scrap metal or a little piece of cloth or some nuts and bolts, and like all those will be items that you can chuck back out. And so I have to think of like limits to how to stop people from being jerks. Right now they just persist indefinitely, but eventually they'll have a self-destruct timer, and so that's fun. Let's see, where are we? What comes next? I think that's where we are. Future dev. So many systems to get to. The next big like module, and it's really close to what I'm going to work on next. The next big module is the questing system. When I first started the game early on, I made a very primitive one, but it was very like very bad. It was not done good, but I've learned so much with scriptable objects and serializable data, and the way that I've built the inventory and our save system, that the quest system is going to fall in like that same type of setup. And so the quest system is the next big module to come. I mean, there's so many things. Like every second, I have like this. Let me look at my list of to-dos here. Expand the stat formulas. Make it make sense. Player positioning. That doesn't mean anything to you. The avatar equipment. So the character creation screen is pretty good, but there's a really big update I want to do, and that's now that I have like this fully customizable gear, I want to have every class have their own like starting gear. Right now, every character has this like default like shirt and pants, and it's just like some basic thing. But I want to have, like, if you select the Zealot, you get like a starting armor set with a sword and shield. If you select the Acolyte, you get a starting staff with like black robes. If you do the Sorcerer, you get a starting like wizard staff or a starting wand or a spell book, and then like full like robe armor or leather armor or whatever it is. I want to have like starting gear. So every class needs to have like starting gear. So that's going to be a fun one. So when you create a new character, you'll at least look pretty cool and you'll look the part, and you'll have like a visual identity. And that's important right now, because right now there's no visual identity to the class. The class is like a data entry point in the game, but beyond that it means nothing. Spells eventually will be limited to certain classes. Gear will be limited to classes or races or whatever combination of it, but none of those rules are there, so that's a big module that's coming. Also, I may even do this before questing. The next one is going to be player-to-player targeting. Like, currently, I can target this skeleton, right? I can highlight over him, I can select him, I can deselect him, I can shoot stuff at him. Whatever, that's cool. But I want to be able to target other players and actually fight them. So I'm actually going to implement like a PvP system very soon. Probably like maybe even like next immediately before questing. Player to player is going to be really important to solve early on. And one of the reasons that's easier to solve than AI combat is because player to player combat, all I need to do is just be able to select a player. And then we as the players drive all the input. So there's no nav meshes, there's no like AI path finding, AI targeting, and like spell cycles. Like all that's just users like targeting me, and you click whatever spell you want. And so it's very straightforward. There's no real hurdles in solving player-to-player combat early on. But the creature combat with AI, it's a much you don't want stupid NPCs that are like dumb. I want it to be smart. Like there's so many games where you're like sneaking around the fortress and there's like enemies everywhere, and it's like if you're 15 yards away they don't see you even though you're in the middle of the open space, but if you're 8 yards away then they do see you. Like all that stuff is stupid. Like if they can see you within line of sight, like they can see you. So like, you know, you got to be like behind a rock. Like I want some, like you're actually gonna have to like creep in. Like you're not gonna be able to just, oh, I'm slightly out of range, out of their view. Like I don't. So I want it to be smart, and it's gonna take time to design that system. But player versus player is ready right away. Like I can run around and target and cast spells on my own, and they will too. So that's coming. My mini map actually broke. I need to get my mini map working again. That's a small fix. That's like probably like a 1 to 2 hour fix. I just need to go do it. Let's see. Yeah, combat AI. Oh, there's a bunch of animation stuff. So like sheathing, unsheathing is literally just like an instant toggle right now. So I need to add some animations there. Spellcasting actually does cast animations currently. But they're very simple, and so we'll expand that later. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things to like. I have endless notebooks of like jobs to do. Obviously, once I get past like the factory building, which is what I refer to it as, like I'm not building a car. I'm building a car factory. I'm building a factory that can build cars. It's like, you know, it's like you don't just go build a car. If you want to make cars, you build a factory that can make lots of cars. So I'm building the game factory that will allow me to build the whole game, but I need to build the factory first before I even do any world building or any like polish, scene switching, LOD, open world, like persistence, because it's going to be like one giant sandbox and you need it to like disappear and load optimally and have other players all throughout the world track. So there's a lot to solve, but it's all down the road. So I would say the next few videos, we'll see polish on the things we've talked about tonight. And then the questing system and player versus player. Like those are the two big things I really need to solve. My refactor from where I was 2 months ago is completely done. It's actually done, and then I'm even further than I was before. So when I had to do this whole refactor with my multiplayer setup and I realized like my whole game broke, like I was almost like, I like screwed up. I screwed up so bad, like I don't even know how to fix it. I have to just redo everything. Eventually, I kind of got into a groove of just like, I did have to redo everything, but I came in fresh and I fixed a lot of sloppy things that I did the first time, and it was actually totally worth it. Sometimes you have to like break the thing you love to like rebuild it even better, and that's where we are with this game. We've rebuilt it, and networking is working so good. Multiplayer is so smooth, and we're just gonna keep hammering on it. So if you happen to have watched this video and you made it to the end of the video, God bless you. Please smash that like button. Help me with the algorithm. I would love if you would consider a subscription. It would mean a lot. And obviously, drop a comment. Let me know what you think so far. Comments are probably the most help you can give. Constructive feedback, negative feedback, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm open to it. I read everything that comes in. And most likely I'll respond to it. But please drop me a comment, like, subscribe. All of those self-fulfilling needs that streamers and YouTubers ask you to do, I am asking as well. That's how we grow the channel. I'm just doing this as a passion project for fun right now. But Steam is actually coming soon. That is another future thing that I want to talk about. Steam, I've already submitted my application to Steamworks. So I've already got the business entity set up there, and the coming soon page is right around the corner. I just need to have some time to make some marketing screenshots and a little marketing promo video and make some splash pages and all the wish list stuff that Steam requires to get that up and running. And then once that's up, you know, a public alpha is not that far away. Like realistically, like 1 to 2 months, we're gonna have a public alpha. I'm gonna invite people into the world. I'm going to kind of enclose you with some invisible walls so you can't go too far and get too crazy, but you're going to be able to test the questing system, the combat system, player versus player, collecting, all that. So I think that's it for tonight. That was a good long stream. I appreciate anybody that happened to watch, and we will see you next time. Tales of Agartha. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.